Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for AdaCore's Tech Days. In this presentation, we're going to be discussing Ada support on Helix and VxWorks 7. My name is Filip Gajewniczek. I am a technical account manager here at AdaCore, and I'm very happy to have Alex Wilson here, who is the Director of Industry Solutions from Wind River. Alex, kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you, Philippe. My name is Alex Wilson. I'm Director of Industry Solutions at Wind River, and I'm responsible for looking after the strategy and solutions that Wind River provides to the aerospace and defense market.
Thanks, Alex. I also wanted to mention that at the end of this presentation, we're going to have a Q&A session, but you can feel free to start asking your questions in the Q&A box that you should see on your screen. And without further ado, let's begin the presentation. So what I wanted to start off with is a discussion of AdaCore and Wind River's long-lasting partnership. It's been going on for a couple decades now, and we've developed some pretty interesting technology stacks over this time. So I've tried to summarize these technology stacks on this slide as these circles. At the bottom, you'll see the hardware. Above that, you'll see the operating system layer. And then at the very top is the AdaCore technology that sits at the application layer. So I wanted to highlight that we have full mixed language Ada, C, and C++ support on Wind River Linux, as well as VxWorks 7 for ARM, PowerPC, and Intel hardware. And we're very proud of that. So the next technology stack I wanted to introduce here is VxWorks 653 on PowerPC. For this technology stack, we support GNAT Pro Ada. And then I also wanted to mention VxWorks 6 and VxWorks 6 Cert on PowerPC and Intel hardware. Again, here we have Ada support. And we're really happy that this partnership is remaining as strong as ever as Wind River is releasing new technology. And it's my pleasure to have Alex introduce us to the Helix platform.
Yeah, this slide looks a little scary, but we actually wanted to find out from our customers and executive leaders what they thought about intelligent systems, in other words, the next generation of intelligent systems. And this shows essentially the characteristics that they came up with based on 4,000 inputs. This was carried out by Forbes. And what's really interesting about this is as we think about intelligent systems, is the sort of stuff that Wind River and AdaCore do together. If you click next, it should animate. And that is around mission critical systems that require safety, security, reliability, and building those kind of systems with high quality software solutions, which is exactly what Wind River and AdaCore provide. Next slide. So how do you go about moving from existing fixed function type devices to what we call intelligent edge devices? We do that through the use of virtualization. And virtualization allows us to take existing applications and move them into a software-defined architecture running on high-performance silicon. This allows us to provide the ability to update and change applications in the field. It gives us the ability to support a mix of different types of applications running on different operating systems. For instance, in the diagram, I'm showing an RTOS and a Linux environment running on the same system. And that allows us to support systems over many, many years, including legacy applications. And it allows us a more flexible type of system that provides for updates and refreshes when we need to for security or functionality or capability reasons. Next slide. It also allows us to start thinking about the future and providing for access to new technologies that provide new functionality required for intelligent edge systems, such as AI, machine learning, machine vision, or even bare metal applications where you may have higher security requirements or other requirements that don't require an OS. So the virtualization layer allows you to add that new capability without it affecting the other applications or the legacy systems that you already have running. Next slide. It also means that you can isolate certain parts of the system where you have stricter safety requirements. So this allows us to build, if you like, a hardware and software protected wall around those safety applications and make sure you can focus your safety validation and verification on just that safety application and safety operating system. This reduces the cost of the overall system because we now don't need to safety certify everything at system high. We can isolate those safety functions and concentrate on those. And it also means we can run our safety system alongside that newer technology I mentioned, such as AI and ML, where it's much harder to achieve the safety requirements and less well understood. Next slide. As with safety, we also can consider security and isolating certain functions for security. Now, there's going to be an overlap here. We will have some functions that require both safety and security, but it does mean that we can, again, isolate those security functions, those safety functions, making use of the hardware and software, and isolate those from the rest of the system. So typically in an intelligent edge system, one of the links you'll need is a communication link, maybe up to the cloud, and you can security isolate that from the rest of the system, especially the safety system, such that you can make sure the integrity of the system is upheld, even with that maybe less secure link. Next slide, please. So this all comes together in a platform we call the Helix virtualization platform. This is based on the Wind River hypervisor, which is safety certified under DO178C up to DAL-A. This provides guest operating systems, either VxWorks, Wind River Linux, bare metal, Android, a legacy OS, your own home-built OS in a virtualized environment. And we can provide VxWorks with DAL-A safety certification as a safety operating system, or full-blown Linux in a separate partition. This means that we can have both the ability to have safety certified applications running on the system alongside applications running on Linux, such as AI or some sort of analytics framework. This also opens up the ability to have, bare metal containers as well. And any of these can be running applications written in Ada, C, C++, whatever language you're choosing, and running either in the safety system or the non-safety system or on the Linux environment or bare metal environment. Next slide. So I introduced you to Wind River Helix. I wanted to give you a quick glimpse of the future with Wind River Studio. Wind River Studio is a cloud-native intelligent systems platform that covers the life cycle of a project through from development to deployment to operations and services. It's a cloud-native architecture, which means you're doing a lot of your development and deployment and operations in the cloud, and utilizes modern DevSecOps type operations to build and deploy applications running on VxWorks or Linux.
Thank you, Alex, for giving us that overview of the Helix technology as well as Wind River Cloud Studio. So next I wanted to discuss how AdaCore fits into this technology. AdaCore provides tool chains that support the development of all the different types of applications that Alex previously mentioned. So for safety critical applications that have the requirement for stable development environments, we offer a GNAT Pro Assurance product line for Ada, C, and C++ that lets you have a stable development environment throughout the life cycle of your project. For a real-time and non-real-time application where the development environment can be frequently updated so that you can get the latest and greatest in your mixed language Ada, C, and C++ compiler technology, we offer the GNAT Pro Enterprise product line. For some of those AI applications, where you might be using massively parallel computations on an NVIDIA GPU, we have a Spark CUDA technology that can help you add the safety, security, and reliability of Spark 2014 and Ada to your host and device code that runs on NVIDIA GPUs. And last but not least, we also have toolchains for your legacy applications. In this area, AdaCore can offer its development services as well as the long-term support status technology so that you can protect those software investments you've worked hard on developing. So I wanted to go into a little more detail on the stack specifically for Helix running on AArch64 hardware. So in the next version of GNAT Pro, we're going to have Ada, C, and C++ code generation for VxWorks 7, VxWorks 7 Cert, and Wind River Linux partitions running in Helix. In addition to that, our engineering team is well on its way to developing another toolchain that will support code generation for bare metal partitions in Helix. They're actually probably testing the integration of our tools as we speak right now. So when we're developing our applications, we're very interested in what kind of language features we get from the language that can make our development easier and more safe and secure. So in the past, AdaCore has developed a number of different runtimes that supported different language features and different parts of the Ada standard library, and these were typically nuanced for each platform. But starting with version 22, we're trying to simplify the situation by defining fewer runtimes that have more features that we're going to standardize across all real-time operating system and bare metal targets that we support. So for example, for certifiable applications that don't have the requirement for multitasking, we offer our light runtime. So this is similar to a ZFP or a Cert runtime from the past, but it's been expanded to support many new Ada packages and language features. For certifiable applications that do have the need for multitasking features, then we offer the light tasking runtime. And all this does is add a scheduling microkernel to the light runtime I described earlier. If you're doing full embedded development, where you want to really maximize the number of language features and Ada library packages that are available to you, then we have something that's exactly the same as the Ravenscar full runtime you're probably accustomed to. And all we've done is we've renamed that to the embedded runtime. And then if you are targeting all of the language features, then you're going to need a full-featured operating system like VxWorks 7 or Wind River Linux. And these runtimes are unchanged in their names and their support for all the Ada language features and Ada library packages. So if you're interested in Helix, you're probably also interested in certification. And I wanted to let you know that all those technology stacks that we discussed previously can be provided for Helix, and they can be provided for with the GNAT Pro assurance services. So what are these services? Basically, for the GNAT Pro assurance product line, you can stabilize on a version of the toolchain into which critical fixes can be backported. And additionally, if you request it, we can develop impact analyses of critical fixes that we backport into these branches. And how it works is simple. You will let us know which version of the technology you want to stabilize on, and we handle setting up the infrastructure to support doing meticulous development and impact analysis on that version of the technology. So as Alex mentioned, Wind River is really leading the charge on expanding its VxWorks development environment. We want to assure you that AdaCore is actively participating in the Wind River Studio Partner Program to make sure that your Ada projects are also fully supported in these new environments. And we're proud to share that we already have an early access VS Code extension for Ada that is ready for you to experiment with as you start to adopt the VS Code-based Wind River Studio. So this VS Code extension adds GNAT Studio's code navigation and completion engine, as well as basic GPR project support into Visual Studio Code. And I also wanted to mention some of the major advancements that we're getting in our tool chains that complement VxWorks 7 and Wind River Linux on these Helix platforms. So the first add-on I wanted to mention is GNAT coverage. This technology now performs source instrumentation. So this allows us to support Ada and C code coverage generation on VxWorks targets. We've also gone ahead and integrated this more tightly with our unit test framework generator called GNAT test. Next, I wanted to mention Spark Pro. This tool suite is used to analyze a formal subset of the Ada language known as Spark 2014. And these tool and the Spark 2014 language is expanding in its features, and this is being driven by its increasing commercial use at companies like NVIDIA. So this tool suite allows you to bring cutting-edge formal methods that can guarantee functional correctness to your projects. And these can complement or even replace costly, unsound, requirements-driven testing. One thing that's difficult, though, is writing all of that code. So we also have a solution that can help you generate this formally approvable code. And this is where I'd like to introduce QGen, which is already seeing industrial use alongside tool chains that generate machine code for VxWorks 7 Helix partitions. And this tool is on track to be the first TQL1 level certified code generator that will take Simulink and Stateflow models and generate Spark Ada code. And that's going to bring us to the end of the presentation, where I want to recap the value add that Wind River and AdaCore technologies can bring to your projects. So let's start with Wind River's Helix platform. The virtualization platform allows you to consolidate your legacy applications in a modern environment where new functionality can be easily developed and integrated. And development of these new features and functionalities can be done using cutting-edge development tools such as QGen and Spark Pro. So why would you want to embrace new development methodologies and technologies? Well, it's because they can help reduce the time to market and costs for developing new safety and security critical features. And they also allow you to preserve and reuse your existing investments in safe and secure software. And now I wanted to briefly thank you for your time and transition into a Q&A session. I look forward to answering your questions.